Okay, everybody, we're going to talk about how to build a parametric family. In this case, I'm going to be working with something like a casework, like a vanity for a bathroom. And I'm going to base it off of an image that I have. And let me see if I can show that to you really quick. Okay, so let me browse to where that is really quick. All right. And this guy right here, just minimize that out of the way. Okay, so what we're going to focus on is this thing right here, and this is the side view of this cabinetry here. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to have to start off by making a new family, and we're going to use casework so that way we can get it to recognize it in the categories of Revit when we're ready to stop those types of things, or I'm sorry, hide those types of things if we need it hidden in a view. So Revit 2019 is what I got here, student version. It could be any version, whatever you want. It's going to be fairly simple, so it should function the same way as any regular family does. So let's do this, family, new, and it's going to open up our templates. And if you're not defaulted here, then typically there's a folder over here that'll let you get into those, okay? So go ahead and scroll down until you find the casework. So casework, and then I'm going to choose the one that says wall based because I want it to mount itself directly against the wall should I move it anywhere. Okay, say okay, and it opens up a blank template for us with a wall. It also gives us the placement side of it in 2D, and it also gives us a 3D of that wall, and then a right side, as you can see over here on these elevations that are available to us. Okay, so I'll probably jump back and forth between those. There's also a plan view right here, so we can look straight down. Okay, so I'm going to start off in 3D so that way I can pick the plane that I want to start drawing this on. I could do it on the placement side if I wanted to, just so you get a better idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to be here in 3D. Okay, so based on this image right here, we're going to go ahead and draw in this side, which is this face of this side right here. Okay, and I'll put another one in, and then we'll put in this divider, and there's a top divider up here, and then there's another one back here, but this drawer is hiding it. Okay. All right, so let's draw out the extrusion, and we need to set the plane that we're going to be working on. We're going to use pick a plane, say OK, and then this highlight is telling me which plane I'm going to be on. I'm going to left click to get it to start drawing on it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out just a simple rectangle and stop. I'm going to go ahead and go into my placement side so that way I can see these reference planes. These reference planes right here are set up with some dimensions and some parameters already. So because this is a casework family, this is the top of your casework, okay? And then this is your reference level 4 right here. And then this is your width of it. And that control is happening right here on the length. And there's a depth here to control its depth. And then we'll have to make another one for its actual height that it's going to go up and down in the view. Okay. So come back here to placement side. I'm just going to pull these down for now. Use the align, and I'm going to lock it to that plane. So that way, if I should change the height, this will move up and down with it. I'm going to use this furthest outer edge and lock it over here. And I can go ahead and pull this out here. And what I can also do too is I can copy this and paste it over here as well. So that way I can get two things done at once. So I'm just dragging a window over it from top to bottom. And then I'm going to use the pick line mirror tool, pick axis, I should say. So I do that. Now the deal is that even though I mirrored this, this thing did not lock itself to these two planes right here just because I mirrored it. All right, so I'm just going to pull it off a little bit while it's selected. Then I'll just go ahead and make it a line to the reference plane to that magenta line, and then from this reference plane to that line, and lock them in. All right, now I need something to control the width of these right now. The way we can do that is either with another reference plane with a dimension tied to it, or I can just put a dimension on here with a parameter on it. I'm going to go that route. So I want to dimension the reference plane to that part right there. Click to finish my dimension, select it, come up here to the label dimensions, and I don't have the ones that I want in here, so I'm going to have to make one for it. As you can see, some of these are already here. All right, click that, parameters properties, say family here, give it a name. We're going to say side thickness. I can't just give it thickness because that's kind of a reserved one, so I don't want to do that. I don't need to change this per, seeing this thing is going to be parametric, I can make different sizes of this thing. I don't need this thickness to change, so it can stay as type, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and get another dimension over here, and I'm going to do the same thing for just simply adding the dimension. And then now I can assign this dimension, this parameter that I just made called side thickness. It is going to stretch it out, and that's not my intent. I do want it to be thin. So I'll come up here to the 4 blue squares called family types. Here I can find all of my parameters in here. There's the one I just made. So let's go ahead and just make that 1.5 inches thick, enter, and say, okay, these both adjust at the same time. Okay, now the other thing I want to do is I'm interested in controlling the depth of these guys. Okay, so what we can do is we can create another annotation. So annotate reference plane, get this magenta line and click to place it. Then we can come over here and create another parameter, and this one's going to be instanced, okay? And because we might want different vanities with different depths, okay? So let's say that this is going to be called vanity depth, or actually it's called height, okay? Say okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another secondary dimension. There's a quick shortcut up here. Get the reference line, get this line right here, click out to the side, escape off of that command, and then come out here, pick from my list, vanity height. Okay, so it stretches to it. So we've got the height of it controlled, we have the thickness of it controlled, and then we have it locked to the overall height off the floor right here. Okay, so there's other attributes to this. So if I take it into 3D and finish this, you're going to see what I mean. See these grip arrows right here? These grip arrows say that I can basically stretch them in those directions. Now, the ones I cannot do anything with is this one and that one because they're locked to some dimensions and parameters. If I pull on it right now, well, I need to lock that parameter, so I cannot allow that to happen anymore. So Control Z to stop that, to go backward. Come back up here, and that was vanity height. So let's put a padlock in that. So, and we'll also put a good dimension in there, 2, and say okay. All right, so you can see that that's stretched. And if I try to pull it down now, it says no way, I'm not going to let you do that. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, because we want the parameters to control how it's going to act. Same thing with this. If I try to pull it, it's going to break. I try to pull this one, it's going to break, which means that's locked to parameters, and I want that. All right. Now, the depth of this guy is not really set right now, so as you can see, I can pull that guy in any direction I want. If I look here in the floor plan of it right here, then I can see the edge of those things are not locked to that plane. So I just need to lock that edge to that plane, and then I've got control for that. Okay, so here we go. Get that edge right here. And you can see it pulled it against, it gives me the padlock option. I lock it. So now should I change this depth dimension, this will shrink and grow together. Okay, so let's go to 3D here and test it out. Right over here, let's say that that needs to be 1'6", and okay. So it did raise the vanity height. Also, the depth of it, maybe it needs to be 1'6", and maybe the vanity height is 2'6". Say apply, there we go, and as you can see it shrank in and went down, okay? The length of it is how far it is from that outside to that outside right now. So, sorry, I collapsed that. If I hit 3 feet in here and enter and hit apply, I can see they shrank together equally, okay? So 4 feet is fine. Say apply. Okay, so that works good. Now we need to start putting in some more pieces. Okay, the piece that I want to put in next is going to be the dividers. This one, that one, and the one below. Okay, so we can start drawing out from this plane again. That's fine. Let's just create an extrusion once more and pick our plane right there. Click, and I'm just going to draw out my extrusion. I'm going to make one of these and then I'll make the other ones later. Okay. All right, come back to the placement side. Now, I don't have anything controlling with a reference plane what's going on with this. However, I can use a dimension and I can lock it to the bottom of this, okay? So first things first, I'm going to line it down here to this edge right there and lock it. Then I'm going to line it to this face and lock it. I'm going to line it to this face and lock it. Then for the thickness of this floor piece in it, we're going to go ahead and use a dimension to control it. So here, aligned, and we're just going to go dimension, click, click. It's defaulting to 2. I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to pick this parameter, side thickness. All right, so this and this and this are all the same size. Okay, I'm going to come into the 3D, and I'm going to finish the command because I need to lock this in one more direction. I have it locked in all the other directions. I just don't have it locked in this one, as you can see. So I can go back out to my plan level, and there's the edge of that right there. So let's use the align tool, align and click and lock. All right, now that is locked down to all these faces here, and it's not going to stretch where, well, let's see, let me pull that grip down right here. All right, see how it won't let me pull it past that grip? That's good. The problem is that I didn't lock the dimension that is controlling that, and see how they equally grew together. So Control Z, undo that, see how they went back. We need to go back into here, and side thickness needs to be locked. Okay, now when I try to do it, it won't do it. Great, that's what we want. Now I need to go ahead and get 2 more of those in there, except that this top one is not going to be covered. It's just going to be the front fill piece, and then the middle piece is going to be like this, okay? So should I want to put like an opening here instead of a drawer, I could have an opening and I'd want that to be solid right there, right? Okay, so placement side again, copy, and just move it up a bit. All right, now, so there's considerations here, right? So the consideration right now, if I select this and edit the extrusion, I have a dimension controlling the thickness, right? So I still need to lock these edges down to these inside faces. Copying will not maintain those constraints that this one had, okay? So now that I got that, the next consideration that I want is I want this thing to stay centered or maintain some sort of distance right here, like constantly, right? So I'm just going to finish it for a second. I'm going to put in another reference plane right here and click, click. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimension between here and here. And then I'm going to align this guy to that plane. Now, if I hit this, grab this drag arrow, it's going to keep moving together, which I want. So that means I can align it and lock it to that plane. Boom, done. Okay. So now the other thing is too, is I want this to be equal distance between here and here. Now the only way I can do that is if I have another reference plane or something like that to figure out what the equal distance is between these, right? So we're gonna go ahead and put in a reference plane right here somewhere-ish. This time I'm going to align the reference plane to the object. And it's because it's already in the right place and it's already got other things controlling it, okay? We're just going to be worrying about the control of where this goes equally. I'm also going to, in the meantime, before I make that equal happen, I'm going to put in that secondary piece that's going to be that little trim out in the front. And I'll show you what I mean. I mean, look at it in 3D. Currently, it's a tray, and I don't want that. So let's pull that away like this. And then in the reference level here, what I'd like to do is I can't edit that downwards, so I'll need a reference plane to control that thickness right there. Currently, it's locked into place. This, nope, it's not locked into place because I copied it. All right, so I need to lock it, the front of it to that plane, locked. Also, these sides are not locked at the moment. Do you see that? When I pull it away, it's not locked. Okay, so I need to get another reference plane going. Create a reference plane right here to right there. Okay, then align the reference plane to there. Then I'm going to toss on another dimension, and this dimension will be, you guessed it, this side thickness. Okay, they don't need to be any different, right? So I can align face to face with a lock, face to face with the lock if I want to do it that way, or open the extrusion and lock the lines, whichever way you prefer. Okay. Pull that away so it's more readable later. Okay, let's look at that in 3D. Here you are. Okay, so the only thing I think we're not locked to, yeah, like that. It's not locked. It's locked in thickness. There's a dimension inside of it, but it's not aligned to anything. So let's align it to that plane. So align this plane to the top of that guy and lock it. All right, so great. Should this thing change size, everything should move together. All right, let's test it out a little bit. 4 blue squares. And let's say this guy is 3 feet. Enter and apply. Everything shrinks up fine. I don't see any problems. And before I test the height, I need to make that equal happen, right? So let's go make that equal happen. Get this dimension, keep on extending these dimensions down. Whoops, I missed it. Extend, click, again, happen to be equal. I do know that this dimension obviously is different from this one. If I put a dimension right now for this spacing, like I can see that that's 1.5 inches, and I can see this is 1 foot 1. Okay, so it's 1 foot 1 inches difference, right? But this height could change, right? So I'm not always maintaining that. Probably optimally, this would be better if it was centered on this reference plane. So I think we're going to do that. Let's edit the extrusion. Get this guy. This guy is locked down to a plane right now. So I'm going to click and hold it and unlock it from that plane. Well, unlock it. Let's try that again. Right. It's not unlocking. All right. Sometimes you got to do this. Delete the shape, redraw it in, let it split the planes like we're talking about. All right. And then I'll need something to make it equal here, right? And then something to control the overall width of it, right? So let's go with annotate, dimension, and click the center line, the outside line, and click again. Just use this equal. All right. And then let's put one more dimension on this guy. And the one I'm going to use is the one we already have, which is the side thickness. So probably a better name might have been used there, but I didn't think about that much before. But you can name it something that seems more relevant. Okay. Unlock it. All right. So now what I should, this error message is talking about something in the center here. So let's remove the constraints here. What is it complaining about? If I move that, okay, good. It has no issue there. Placement side. Let's leave that equals all the time. And then go over here and let's test the height of this thing, okay? Let's see how it behaves. The vanity height right here, let's say 3 feet. That's just gonna, yeah, make it taller. All right, so it broke that constraint down there. Let's go look at the placement side and see why. All right, so this, edit the extrusion. Okay, guys, this is a really good opportunity to make sure to see when you make a mistake that something doesn't work properly because you have embedded some of your dimensions. So that's kind of the danger of embedding your dimensions inside of things. So it's not this one that's the problem. I think it's this guy here. So if we look at it, see how it's got vanity height tied to that guy. I think what we want to do here is just simply delete these off of here. And then these here, go ahead and remove their constraints. This one too, remove it. It's already removed. Okay, and then align it into this reference plane instead. Lock it there and lock it there. Okay, and then finish that one. And then now put in the vanity height here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now let me change the vanity height to be a little bit higher so that way I can kind of see what's going on there. Okay, so 3 feet, let's put it at 2 feet for a minute. say, okay. All right, so I need this guy to be running with that guy, right? So I just needs an align and a lock, done. Okay, that way if I change the height of this thing should stay center all the time, right? So I apologize, that was my lack of forethought there. So let's change it back to 3 and see if it all stretches where it's supposed to. Yep, no errors, and it is equal spacing there. And it looks good, works fine. Okay, we're not going to put a top in here because what we want to do is put a countertop on here. Okay, and that way we can have something different. We can switch that out anytime we want to. Okay, so now let's go ahead and set this up to maybe a 2 foot in the vanity height of it right there, and create the faces with the drawers. So here's what we got so far. That piece here, we got this middle piece here, and there's one piece back here, and then these sides. It's not in this sketch, that divider piece here, but we're gonna leave it like this, okay? All right, so let's put in this piece next. All right, so all we need to do is just start drawing on a plane again. So we just go simply create extrusion, set the plane with a pick plane, and I'm gonna pick this plane right here. And then I'm just going to start out with just drawing it in space here, go to the placement side. Okay. And so the design has these sides exposed and the tops and the middle exposed. So it's like it's going to be on the interior of it. Okay. All right. So let's do that first. Lock it into place. And there we go. Lock that one into place. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do the second one too, since we're here. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and lock it into place, lock it into place. I'm changing the design a little bit so it's more uniform. I want the bottom part to show, this part to show, and this part to show. Okay. Now the extrusion itself is going to be a foot deep. I don't need it to be that deep. I'm going to control that depth with the parameter here. So just hit this little box here, vanity or side thickness right there. Okay. Notice it put it in at that same thing right there. Okay. Now, I'm not sure which direction that extruded, so I'm gonna check that in 3D here after I apply it. It extruded in the direction I want, and I think that might be too aggressive. So let's go over here, say none, and okay, and we'll give this probably maybe let's say a 3/4 inch thickness here. Yeah, I think that feels a little nicer. Okay, it's not currently locked to any plane, which means that if I pull on either of these grips, it'll pull it in any direction. I don't want that. So let's look at the reference level and try to lock those down. Okay, so even though I'm drawing on the plane, it doesn't lock it to the plane. All right, so I'm going to do the locking to the plane right now. Locked. Okay, and get this guy here. What is this piece? All right. Okay, back to the reference level. Okay, so I want to lock this one. Oops, you know what? I locked that to the wrong plane. Let me unlock it, remove the constraint. I meant to lock it here. So right here, there we are. And then I need this guy to always be at 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, I mean, I could punch that in there, but I want to be sure that it always is. So let's put a create reference plane out here. I don't care what the number is at the moment. Oops, it's a little off skew. That won't work. Do it one more time. Right here. Okay, align here to there, lock it, get a dimension on here, here to here, and right here is fine, I guess. And then in this case, I want to go ahead and select that plane right there, click into the dimension, and type in the amount I want, 3/4 inch. All right, now I don't need a parameter to lock this guy. I can select the dimension and choose lock, okay? Because it's always going to be the same. I don't plan on changing it any other point in time. Back to 3D. Here we go. All right, so now we need to put in that design that wraps that edge. So if you look, there's like this bevel right here. So it's flat on this side, but it's like curved on this side. So I think a sweep is going to be the best way to handle that particular situation. So let me check the video I got earlier and make sure that I'm curving this in the proper direction. Okay, all right. So it's not a very high profile. So we're going to go here and we're going to say create, and we're going to say create a sweep, all right? So a sweep has a path and then it has a profile it can follow. So we sketch the path first. Pick line is the best way to go. Go here. So I'm going to pick this edge, lock it, pick this edge. You know what? I'm still on the wrong plane here. I want to be on top of this. So let me cancel that first. Yes, it's my fault. So let's say set, pick a plane, say okay. This is my plane. All right. All right. So now back here under the sketch path, we can go ahead and pick line right here. So notice this time and kind of try to follow it around. Notice this time it's actually, now the mistake I just made is I didn't lock those down. So let's try that one more time. Pick, lock, pick, lock, pick, lock, pick, lock. And that way it makes an entire loop of this shape. Now I got my path. This little crosshair is the plane that I'm going to actually draw my shape on. And so I can see that it has a right side. So I think that might be the best place to draw it on. Okay. So right here, we say edit profile, and then we can draw out the shape that we want. So I'm going to just willy-nilly draw my shape for a second, and then I will get it all locked down. Okay. So align here to there, lock, here to there, lock. All right, so this can be locked down with other shapes too to help you out. If you needed a different angle right here, you can grab it, drag it. 45 looks pretty good there, huh? So it'll stay like this no matter what you do, but chances are pretty strong that you probably want to go ahead and lock it down with some dimensions if you can. So, you know, put it to a reference plane to that guy that it should always be 45 degrees and lock that guy down. And then I would let this piece probably flex. Maybe the height of it's too deep. So it says that it's like whatever this number is. So let's give it a real number here. How about half an inch? Okay, makes it a little flatter, a little bit larger. Okay, and then if you don't want these to have these sharp angles in here, then you can go ahead and give it a fillet. Click here, put a radius on it. I don't know, that thing is only a half an inch, so maybe an eighth an inch. Okay, so click, click, and now you have an eighth inch fillet in here. And you could type in that and change that number out if you feel like it, you know, that's too small. Maybe it needs to be 1/4 of an inch inner, and it just makes it kind of wider and bigger. Okay. All right, I think that's okay for now. Finish that. Come out to the 3D, and I want you to see how this is going to wrap that shape. It's going to go wrap that all the way around. Finish it. And there you are. All right. So if this thing looks decent to you, then you know that's good to go. If not, then you're going to want to change that up. Now, what I cannot do is I cannot just copy paste that over here. I would want to actually go ahead and make that again. But what I can do is get that same shape. I can say edit the sweep and select that guy, say select profile, edit the profile, and copy by dragging a window into my clipboard. Just copy my clipboard. It's not going to like it, but just do that. Okay, and get out of it. Get out of it. Okay, and then come over here. We're going to draw another one. Okay, so create, sweep, pick the plane right here. And then over here, say get the path that we want it to follow it around. Remember that we're going to need to lock these as we go around. Click, lock, click, lock, click, lock, click, lock. Okay, path is good. Now get our profile, edit profile, and in the right view over here, let's see, I could pick line to get that because it actually is there, but let's see how paste works out for us, okay? Pick paste from clipboard and click to drop it on. Okay, so looks good. The only thing that's going to suck about this is that aligning and locking it to that plane is not going to work out very well. So click to do that. Also, the other issue is I have this thing upside down, don't I? And Control Z that guy then. Let's just do this. Pick line, this shape, this shape, this shape, this shape, and that shape, and then trim it all up. Trim, 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 trim. Okay, grab it, move it, because we already have one up there. Constrain, undo that so that we can pull it off of there. Okay, now I'm going to use this for aligning it to here and here. And actually, you know what? If I use some dimensions, I can get it to actually hold its shape for the most part. This half-inch scale is a little bit too small. Let's bump it up so I can get a little more visibility. My text gets smaller. Okay, so let me select that dimension, lock it, and put a dimension here, in here, and lock it. Because I'm going to align in that side and I'm going to align that side. So I want to maintain those. All right, lock, lock. So it didn't maintain the overall length. And that length is supposed to be here to here, 1.25. Okay. So select that guy or that guy. Now you got the dimension there, 1.25 inch. It's complaining because when you do this, the line wants to stretch equally in both directions and it's locked down. So my mistake, 2.25, just dragging it until I see there's 1.5. Zoom in a little bit more. And I probably can get my quarter out of it. That's being a pain. Okay, so just delete this out, okay? Select that guy, 1.25, okay? That made it 1.25 feet, by the way. So 1.25 inch, there we are. Okay, then I can go ahead and put in this guy, put it at 45-degree angle, because that's what the other one is, and click. Trim this TR, and now I'm right. Okay, I can get rid of all this stuff now. And then the height of it, I can go ahead and just align it like that. And voila, I've got the same exact profile. A little long way about it, but there it is. You can load in profiles too. They do exist. So right here where it says by sketch, there's a drop down here. And there's also a load profile. So Revit has some profiles here that you can come out to here, and it says profiles, and then you can kind of pick out some stuff that you might like. So let's see where some good ones. Finished carpentry maybe. So if you look over here, here's what those finishes can look like that you can use in that. Okay. And so if you wanted to, you could also create your profile too. And then with that said, what that would do for you is give you the ability to load that in and leverage that shape. Okay, so as you can see, we have that profile on here now, and we also have it against there. So now the thing to do is to test it out and see if we can stretch it in any direction and make sure that it is moving properly. So let's work up here. And that message was asking me if I wanted to save the project, and I'm not interested in doing that right now. Let me try the length of it. Let's put it at 4 feet. Click apply. All right, look, and the profile stretches along with it as it's supposed to. Let's change the vanity height from 2 to 3 feet. And voila, yes, they grow. Okay, and then let's check out the depth of it. Let's change that depth to 2 feet, make sure everything stays together. Now, if anything was wrong, then things would have come apart. So this is a good test because look, we see that that is attached properly, but look, we don't have this one attached to that reference plane like it should be. So let's make that correction here. in the reference level. Right here, as you can see that it's not attached like it should be. All right, that's an easy fix. We just attach it to that plane right here. So align here, here, lock. And if you look into 3D now, you can see that it is attached. Actually, it's attached up to the line behind this thing. It actually should be to the face of that guy right here. So let me go back to the level and pull it away, and it'll disconnect it with the remove constraint. It should be on this line. My apologies. Align here, here, and lock. Come back to the 3D, and you can now see that it is exactly against that edge as it should be. Okay, so the top will remain open so that way we can put a countertop on it and put in a fixture, okay? All right, let's see. Now the other option was is they wanted to make this guy capable of being hidden on the top or making it to where it would be visible, right? So that can be handled with a visibility parameter, okay? So I'll create that first. So the way you can do that is come up here to your 4 blue squares, and then we say new, and cancel, that's edit. I meant to say new here, and we'll give it a name. So we'll say top drawer, and we'll say instance so we can control them independently. Come down here to yes, no, and then categorize it under visibility, okay? Say okay. So now that it's there, so under this type, it shows it on. So now we need to start creating 2 different types. One would be with the drawer on, one would be the drawer off. Or we can leave it be and we can just independently uncheck and check these things when we're in the project for each instance that we place, okay? That's probably okay for now. Let's do that. Say okay. All right. So now you need to assign it to something, all right? So the way you do that is you have to give it to right here. See where it says visible? You give the parameter right here and say top drawer. Now that it's on there, see that it grays it out and it's got these 2 little lines, meaning that it's got some sort of parameter assigned to it, and it does. All right, it's associated. So if I come down right here, I can preview what it's going to look like in the project. That's what this little outline is going to mean, which means I can come over here and I can say uncheck that guy, and it turns off the visibility to those panels that I had on the front of there. And the reason why these didn't get hidden with it is I didn't assign the parameter to that piece as well. So what I want to do is give that same parameter right there, and notice it disappears instantly. Okay. Now, what I also need is I need to place in another panel back here so that way this one can remain a drawer, right? So also, while this is like this, I probably should go ahead and try and change the sizes a little bit just to make sure that I haven't caused any havoc there. Let me see here. You know what? I think I would like to have that profile apart. No. Hmm. Hmm. So that parameter probably might be best with a name called, let's edit the name of it, and we'll call it one. No, actually, let's leave the name as it is and create the types. Right here, we'll say 2 drawer. And then the other one is going to be 1 drawer. Okay, so with the 1 drawer, it would be turned off. With the 2 drawer, it should be turned on. Okay, say okay. And so this right here is going to be on the type of top drawer right here. Okay, that's good. And this should also be on top drawer 2. Okay, good. All right, so if I go through these types right here and I say 1, it disappears and the bottom one should remain. Now the issue here is that I made those panels into one thing. I should have made them as separate things, and that way when I turn them on and off, it's less havoc, right? So let's flip it back to 2 drawers here for a second. And that way I can make that change. Let me put that back to visibility off. Go over here, edit the extrusion, face it up here. And I'm just going to delete these out. Okay. Finish it. Actually, this is the 2 drawer. 2 drawer be there. Say discard my changes here. 2 drawer family type should show both on a one type. Then, okay, so I'm going to create a separate one. So let's go ahead and set the type to 1 drawer. Say okay. And put the preview on like that. Okay. And set this guy, let that guy be where it is. Create the extrusion. Set the reference plane by picking it right here. And let's go into the placement side right here. And let's just draw it out right there. I'm going to lock it to this plane, lock it to that plane, lock it to that plane, lock it to that plane, okay. And then in plan, I'm gonna have to make an adjustment here. Well, did I give it one? Vanity thickness, side thickness? No, I did not. So I think I used a dimension to control it before. So I'll just control it again in my plan once I finish it, see how it grows outward from it. So I'm gonna have to control it right there. So that guy, you just put it right here on this plane, lock, this plane, lock, and then it's already controlled in the other direction. So we should be good to go. And then I need to give this guy right here a visibility on the type of 1 drawer. So yeah, I do need to change these names here on the type. So this guy we'll say is going to be edited, and we're going to call this one 1 drawer. Okay. And in that case, it can be type. Okay. Make a new one, say 2 drawer, type, yes, no, category visibility. Okay. So that way it puts it right here together. 1 drawer should be one check like this. Okay. Say okay. So this guy should be on the visibility of 1 drawer. This guy should be on the visibility of 2 drawer. All right, so now let's switch between them and see if it operates properly. So if it's 1 drawer, then we shouldn't have, oh, you know what? I forgot to put this onto the 1 drawer visibility also. There we go. What's showing what type? 2 drawer should have both. 2 drawer. So this piece should be on 2 drawer. 2 drawer, right there. All right, now back up here. So uncheck that. Notice it stays. Go to 1 drawer, and it should be like that. Those 2P. All right, it functions. Cool. All right. So this is all ready to go. So all we do now is just, if we want to assign materials to it, we can do that too. If we select things like this, we can create a parameter for the materials too if we felt like it. So anything that had, or we can just go like this and, select, click everything, but probably it would be best to have it on the 2 drawer when we do that full selection. Like that. Do like this. Now I've got everything selected in here, right? Okay. And under the materials right here, we can create a new parameter, and we'll say this is finish. And materials and finishes where it'll categorize it. Say okay. Come back under the parameters here. And then under materials and finishes, we'll just go ahead and pick what we want out of here. And I don't have really anything I like. So let's look right here under the library. I don't want that yet. So let's create a new material and rename it. And we'll say that this is the vanity finish color. Say okay. Come over here and let's get something white. So I'm going to type in wood white. That. Some PVC spruce white fir. Let's look here. Over here, gypsum siding. No. Okay, so plastics white has a little bit of a sheen to it. Solid white doesn't look exactly right. I like this one, even though it's called that. It's weird, but I like the color of it. Looks pretty nice. Grab that guy. All right, so it's called this, but it's got that embedded in it, the PVC white. So say okay and apply. And now all that's carrying that properties of that white. Come here to realistic, and there we are. Okay. So this is a good little family. So once you've got it how you like it, then you can just go ahead and say save as family. And let's place this somewhere pertinent. And I'll put it in the student who actually inspired me to do this. Private families. We'll call this vanity custom parametric. Say save. All right, so I'm gonna go to the close down, like let me turn off this preview here, and I'm gonna put it into a project. So I don't have a project file opened up, but I'm gonna close down all these ones right now. Go file new, and we'll just say project and architectural, say okay. And then let me put a floor and a wall in because that's what it's looking for. So wall, put a floor, put in a structural floor here, slab, draw out the shape of it. All right, here we go. Okay, and this has got a 3D possible view too. Here we go. Let's say that our vanity is going to go against this wall. So come back over here to our 3D view, and we just close out that plan view, 3D view of a project, load it into the project, and close. Do you want to save the changes? Sure. Put it into this project, and it is looking for a wall, so it will let me go ahead and place it in there. And sure enough, here's our guy. We can control the vanity height right here. We can say that it's 4 feet off that elevation. I think this one is actually a control too. So the vanity height is how tall the thing actually is. Now, notice that what things are able to see here. So if I switch between the 2 drawer and the 1 drawer, notice that it turns off that visibility on and off. So it's pretty nice. It is functioning as I expect. All the other parameters that have controls are right here in this area. And the reason why they are here instead of out here is that they were done as type, not instanced. So let's go and get the length and the depth and set those out here in that area. Okay, the way we do that is edit the family, go up here, select the length, edit it, and we'll call it instance. Okay, and then the depth, edit that one, and we'll call, oh, that one's locked down. So I would have had to created another one, then I could say instance. So probably gonna have to deal with that. And then the other one, vanity height is that one. Oops, cancel, edit, instance, good. Side, I don't need to change depth, height. Edit that one. That one's already locked in. So these are like reserved parameters. Say okay. This is going to ask me to save it and overwrite the existing file and then overwrite this one. Okay. Now when I select it, I've got these length and the vanity heights for me to pick from. 3 feet. Everything shrinks up as I need it to. And this vanity height could be 2'6". And we need to get off the floor. about 3 feet. There we go. Okay. Good. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please drop me a line. All right.